I think we are live.
Okay, Doug, are we live? There are 2 people watching already. We are just popular.
All right.
Are we live?
Yeah, I think we're live now.
Okay.
What's up?
Hello.
Kevin.
Hey.
How's it going?
Not too bad.
Oh, you're doing your Twitters there?
No, I'm trying to. I'm trying to actually pull up. There we go.
Oh yeah, that's. There we go. What was that now?
Sorry.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
No, that's fine. But you were just telling me that your cat almost killed you.
Yeah, my cat almost killed me tonight on the way before I came over. Went upstairs to get dressed to come over, and it was dark upstairs, and I started walking back down. Thankfully, I was holding on to the handrail because he was in the dark on one of the steps, and I tripped over him, like stumbled down a couple stairs to the very top. So if I wasn't holding on to the handrail, I would have been at the bottom with like broken arms and stuff. He does that all the time. He's always hanging out underneath my feet.
He obviously hates you.
Trying to kill me so he can eat me later.
That's right. Because that's how I'm gonna go. Is I'm gonna die and get eaten by cats.
Yeah, that's always like in the back of my head. It's like, okay, if I just died right here in the kitchen, how long before my cat starts eating me?
Yeah. It's he's already sizing you up. That's what it is.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he would.
So
what you drawing here tonight?
This is an obscure character. Hey guys, how's it going? This is kind of an obscure character. Back in the 90s, they did this thing, and I mean, and people are kind of dimly aware of this now because they have, I think people are somewhat aware of Spider-Man 2099 because he was in the Into the Spider-Verse movie. Which, did you see that? Did you ever see that?
Oh yeah, that was great.
That movie was fantastic.
Yeah, I loved the animation.
I mean, it was a work of art.
Yeah.
I mean, it was really, really good. I think my favorite moment of the whole movie was Spider-Man and Miles. You know, like it's because what it is it's Peter Parker and Miles Morales, and of course Peter Parker's the original Spider-Man, and then Miles Morales is
Peter
like
Parker's grown up in this one,
right? And Peter Parker's he's grown, and Miles Morales is like a young teenager. But my favorite scene is like both of them are running out of a building, like trying to escape, and they're being chased by like these scientists, and Miles turns around and throws a bagel at one of them, and when it hits him, like if you look on the scientist, like above the scientist, like in a comic book, like you'll have like a sound, and it just says bageled.
Oh really?
Yeah. It's
that's funny. I need to watch that again.
It's really brilliant, really brilliant. I'm actually a little surprised I don't own it yet.
I remember a lot of people were like, went to go, were gonna go see it.
Yeah.
And you didn't know if it was like for kids or what.
Yeah,
and then like my nephew came back and he's like, "Oh my God, it was the best Spider-Man ever did see."
It really is. It's that good.
Yeah,
and it's yeah. But anyway, but at the end of that, there's a like an after credits thing, and in the after credits, that the weird looking Spider-Man, because the whole point of the movie obviously is there's multiple Spider-Mans, and Spider-Man characters. So you've got like not just Spider-Men, but you got Spider-Women, like Spider-Gwen and but all the Spider characters. And like there's the really weird one at the end, and that's Spider-Man 2099.
Okay.
And it was from the 90s. Marvel did this really cool
Hey Jason, by the way. Jason's here.
Hey Swifty, what's up? How's it going, man? And you can't prove we killed anybody. But so like they did this thing, this Marvel 2099 thing, and it was really brilliant. It was the kind of thing that you almost just can't do anymore. Like it's like,
why would you say that? What would I mean? Yeah.
Well, because now like it's owned by Disney, and they have to like they're going to be really way more. They're going to be way less inclined to do really weird things with their property.
Well, I mean, you got a raccoon, and
tree,
but
that's not really what I'm saying. Is like what I mean is like I mean the history of like comics in general, but especially Marvel, is like you'd go through these periods where they would really experiment with just doing weird things, and it's and like sometimes it would stick and sometimes it wouldn't. you just can't do that now because it's like now you're dealing with like Disney style guides, so you can't really. And well, like the Marvel 2099 thing was one of those things where it was like what they he says 92 or 93. Yeah. I want to say it was definitely like around that period. I don't know how long it lasted. I'd have to look it up. But it was they had like these. It was like looking into the future of Marvel Comics, and it was like the year was 2099, and it was the closest I can get to it is like you've seen like Batman Beyond.
Yeah,
it's very much like Batman Beyond. Like it's like, big mega cities and weird things have happened. And like by far like the standout was probably Spider-Man 2099. It was the new Spider-Man was a guy named Miguel O'Hara. And it was just cool. Like everything about it was cool. And it wasn't like he was just a carbon copy of Spider-Man with a new costume in the future. It was like his powers were subtly different. Like Spider-Man 2099's powers were like for example, you know how like Peter Parker or Miles Morales, like they stick to surfaces just like, it's like some microscopic. They never really explain it. Like in the Sam Raimi movie, it was like tiny little hairs. Right. But Miguel O'Hara Spider-Man 2099 had like talons. And it was like, but they were weird talons. It was like what they did is, let's just show.
I think I remember this.
Yeah, it was like if you were looking at Miguel O'Hara's fingertips, like if this is the finger, right? Like these are his fingers.
Finger or bagel? I mean, I was gonna make a joke. Baguette.
Okay. Baguette. Okay, I got you. It does kind of look like.
Yeah.
So it's like if these were Swifty. It was like a dark future. It was kind of dystopian. It wasn't like completely dystopian. Like it wasn't like caricature dystopian, but yeah, it was kind of dark. But like what it was like he had like talons that came down like that, and he could like flatten them. Can you see that? See what I'm saying?
Oh, okay.
And he would like flatten them when he wasn't using them, but then he could like extend them. So like not only could he like climb walls and stuff, but they were like weapons. So like he would like slash people, and he almost had like a vampiric sort of thing going on. Like he had fangs. It was really, his power was from the Time Storm and Spider DNA. Yeah. It was like he worked for a company called Alchemax. And incidentally, Alchemax was also that was an Easter egg in the Spider-Verse. The company was Alchemax, if I remember correctly.
They had a lot of Easter eggs in that movie.
Oh yeah, it's brilliant. It really was. Like I was so impressed.
Didn't they mention the or was that another movie? But it mentioned the Tobey Maguire.
Yeah, there was
they kind of showed like clips of like where he saved the train and all that.
Yeah,
kind of stuff. Yeah.
I'm telling you, like this is what I see coming. I mean, I know we're already kind of getting into the deep woods with this. But I mean, just to sort of recap before I go there, like that. They had all these different characters. They had like Doctor Doom 2099. Dude, you're gonna want to get right in front of it, not on top of it. See, you're kind of on top of them.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go. Kind of like.
Sorry, I'm new to this.
Kind of like
guys.
Kind of like.
You can tell.
Kind of like that. You want to kind of do that.
I'm new to this.
Yeah. It's remember you're not speaking into the top.
I thought you said speak to the top earlier.
No. Don't speak to the top.
Sorry.
You want to speak to the front.
Okay.
Sort of the front of it. Well, we noticed. I mean, it sounded good, but we noticed last time
last time I was a little quiet.
Yeah, the guest mic was a little quiet. So you had like Doom 2099, and there was Fantastic Four. What was cool, what they did with the Fantastic Four though, is it was just the Fantastic Four, and it was like they were lost in time.
Oh, okay.
So it was still Reed Richards and
Chris Evans,
right, and Jessica Alba with her crazy blue.
So what you're drawn tonight is Hulk. Then.
Well, yeah, they did Hulk 2099, who was a really cool character. It was all just really cool. Like the whole thing was just very cool. And like I was saying, it's the sort of thing that they almost just can't afford to do anymore because it's just so weird.
It probably confused a lot of people.
Well, see, and that's what. Well, but here's the thing: is like that here's my, maybe I'm being an artiste or whatever, but like my thinking is that's a bad reason not to tell a good story, and because that tends to be something that comes out of like the bigger corporate sort of properties, which are all the properties now. But it's like it tends to be, we don't want to confuse anyone. You're not going to confuse people. Like if you tell a decent story, you're not going to confuse people.
That's true.
But I mean, but you're right. That's what they're thinking. Is it's like, well, this is just going to be so confusing. Meanwhile, here's a raccoon with a machine gun.
What I was saying is like the Hulk here looks like a symbiote because his tongue and everything. But you're saying not at all. Yeah.
Well, and the thing is like I've always kind of thought like that's probably I can't remember who designed this. The art was great. I mean, it was really good stuff. All of it was good. Like I don't remember who did Hulk, but I know that the guy who started and I think designed and drew Spider-Man 2099 was a really good artist named Rick Leonardi. The guy was awesome. I loved his stuff. It was so weird, and it was just kind of an older era of comics. But you can almost like see that part of what was influenced though was Venom. Like it doesn't have anything story-wise to do, but it's like the
art for sure.
The kids like the Venom with the big tongue, so let's give him a big tongue. So you can definitely sort of see that.
Punisher and Ravage, 2099.
Yeah, I don't. Ravage was like a totally different, like totally new character, and I don't think it ever really took off. I mean, I don't know. I don't think I ever read that one.
See, yeah.
Punisher. I want to say the Punisher was the original Punisher too. Somehow, I could be wrong.
Speaking of Punisher, that's one thing I do miss the Netflix Marvel series.
Yeah, but I can sort of get it. I think they were playing out. I think it was getting played out.
Yeah,
and it was like all the Daredevil stuff was really good. Jessica Jones was pretty good. Punisher was good. I enjoyed all of them. I thought the Luke Cage series was Punisher, Ravage. They were very good. Oh, you were reading Swifties. I thought you were looking them up. I liked all of them. I thought the Luke Cage series was brilliant.
Yeah, they all have really good. They all had really good parts, different seasons that were good. But they also all kind of like they have slow episodes, like slow burn, and then like the last couple episodes were amazing, or parts like that.
I don't mind that so much though.
I didn't mind it all the time, but there were certain seasons or. I don't know.
See, I don't mind if it slows down as long as it doesn't lose the plot. Yeah. And sometimes they could.
And
lose
like
the plot.
Defenders really ticked me off because they got rid of Sigourney Weaver. Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
Got rid of Sigourney Weaver as a character, and she was like nothing too.
I think that the way the Defenders thing went was where they really had a misfire.
Yeah.
And the misfire was that it was like. Yeah, I mean, they promised a lot, and then they didn't show it.
Yeah,
because they kept sort of hinting that things were going to be this big, sort of thing, and then it was like the Sigourney Weaver character. It's like you get this hint that she was
a badass.
Yeah, and then just nothing, and then they didn't do anything with her. They just kill her off.
Right,
and it just didn't make any sense. Swifty says the Punisher is a hard character to put in live action due to the violence. Yeah, and I think they did a great job with it. Like the casting couldn't have been better. What was that dude's name?
Bernthal.
Barenthal.
Barenthal.
Yeah, all couldn't have been better. Like it was. I mean, just really, they really did a good job of that. Daredevil, I thought was great.
I always loved Daredevil. I always liked Jessica Jones.
Yeah, Jessica Jones I always really liked.
Except there were parts that were kind of like.
Yeah,
like what they did with was it Kitty?
Kitty. Hey, Kitty. With Hellcat. Yeah. Which was such a shame because you just really get the impression they squandered the last seasons of those shows.
Yeah, and I kind of hate
I'm gonna
how
start inking this.
I kind of hate how they left. They canceled. Lost my train of Iron Fist. Yeah. And they left it so wide open.
Yeah, and it was like, hey, we're about to do really cool things.
Yeah, and then you're canceled.
Psych.
Yeah, and Luke Cage too. Suddenly he's like a mob boss or whatever it was.
Yeah, I mean, I think what it is, man. and I think about this a lot when it comes to comics, because I mean things are so weird now. Purple Man was awesome. What an amazing freaking villain.
Right.
The Purple Man.
Oh gosh, yeah.
What did they call him in the? I mean, what's his actual name? I can't remember.
Like the actor, or you mean?
No. I mean the actor's David Tennant, but because in the comics he was always called the Purple Man, and then
I cannot remember.
I forget.
I cannot remember now. I mean, I could look it up, but I don't want to.
Jessica. Yeah. So, but yeah, it was
that first season of Jessica Jones.
Oh, it was
really
fantastic.
Great.
Fantastic. But I'll tell you, I think about this a lot. Like, in some ways, it's almost like it never fails. It's always when I'm live that all of a sudden I get every notification in the world. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. finally decided that. Yeah, I think it's been a zombie for a long time.
Oh yeah,
Agents
yeah.
of S.H.I.E.L.D. But like when it comes to like comics and like TV and movies and stuff, it's I almost feel like, I mean, growing up, I mean, dude, I was like I was that kid. Like the thing that it doesn't exist today. Like today, all of that stuff, everything that we think of as like geek culture, it's all mainstream. It's all like, so it's not really geek culture anymore, as far as I'm concerned. Like it's not the same thing. And one of the ways you can tell is, I guess I better actually ink. And one of the ways that you can tell that
we're here to watch you draw.
Yeah, dance, monkey, dance.
Mm-hmm.
One of the ways that you can sort of tell that it's different is like when I was a kid and I was reading all this stuff, and there weren't a whole lot of my friends that were really into comics and into like that sort of the nerdy stuff back then. You had a few, but for the most part, it was still niche at that point. And I think people have the impression that it was, just sitting around with a bunch of guys and just praising, oh my God, Star Wars is just amazing. Isn't Star Wars just amazing? Do you guys love Star Wars? I love Star Wars. Do you guys love Star Wars? Yeah, I really love Star Wars. Wasn't that Star Wars movie just amazing? Like that's not remotely what it was like being an actual nerd. You know what I'm saying? Like being an actual like nerd and geek in like the 80s. Mm-hmm. Swifty says, well, when you and the neighbor kid are getting your digital comics on the same day. Yeah, that's true too. Yeah, no one's making a trip to the comic store. That's part of it. That's definitely part of it. Yeah. But are kids today even buying comics? I'm not sure.
I'm skeptical. Yeah.
I'm skeptical. I think it's mostly dudes like our age.
Yeah.
And it's
well, certain
yeah, well, but like what's like, but like, we would sit around and we would argue about this stuff. It was not a love in. And to me, what's really changed is like people they just get all bent out of shape when nerds do what nerds have always done. And that's you complain about this stuff. Mm-hmm. And not complain isn't the right word, but you argue about it, and you well, I like this and I didn't like that, and this was stupid, and I hated this, but I love this. This was the best thing ever, and this was, and it's sort of like what's happened now that all this stuff has gotten huge, and it's all very, I mean, it was always corporate. I mean, make no mistake, it's a business. It's always been a business. But I think the difference is now is that you're bringing like the power of these massive companies with just legions of people that have the ability to really tightly control their intellectual property, right? And I think as a result, like they want the sort of environment where you don't really complain. Like, I mean, think about it. Like most of it today is just like, oh, you don't like what they did with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.?
Yeah.
Gosh, why are you complaining? And it's it's like, for crying out loud, that's what we do. That's like our job is to like sit around and talk about this stuff. That's what gets you engaged. But anyway, the whole reason I was saying that is like with things like Marvel 2099, it was weird and it was a risk and it was creative and it was I mean, it was still, they were still, a business. They're still trying to sell books, but they could afford to take more of a risk than any of these characters will ever get again.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because now it is big business.
Well, that, and they have to always, it seems like they're always, thinking, can this be tied into a movie, or can we make a movie out of this? And
yeah, right. I mean, like now, like when I see the art, and I never want to, I mean, I suck. And I never want to make it sound like I'm criticizing the artist's ability, but I feel like that a lot of these comics are now so tied into the notion of making every panel sort of work more like a storyboard.
mm-hmm.
Like they look like movie storyboards. They're very precise and they're extremely well rendered, but I think it's almost a metaphor for like what's happened like with comics in general, where instead of it being a medium for its own sake, it's like an appendage to this big machine.
Mm-hmm.
And I miss scrappy little comics. Like, I mean, and you have comics that are out there, but a lot of those comics tend to move away from superheroes, from just like these big mythic. So you got a ton of indie comics that are all great, and you got great creators, but I kind of miss the shared universe of like superheroes and so on.
Mm-hmm.
Swifty says, digital subscriptions or people publishing, reading on YouTube. Yeah, I mean, it's and I will say this, like I've actually bought more digital comics, or not bought them really. I'm actually a member of
a subscription.
Yeah, I've got a subscription to like Marvel. And I mean, but let's face it, really, I've got it to read the old stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's because the old stuff's amazing. And it's not that there's not occasionally some pretty decent comics, but it just feels so corporate now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I'm not saying that that's a bad thing, and I'm not saying that everybody's not trying to make money. But what I mean is like, it feels very safe and predetermined. Maybe that's a good way of putting it.
Mm-hmm. I like some of the horror comics. There's I was reading one that I just love the art of. It's Harrow County. Do you remember that?
I remember you telling me about it though.
It was really good. It was about, the art is amazing.
Uh-huh.
It's about this girl that is sort of like a reincarnation. Probably spoiling some stuff in a way, but she's a reincarnation of this evil witch, and this witch conjures monsters and just all sorts of like evil creatures that are involved in the story, and it was really good.
When did this come out?
Probably maybe 4 or 5 years ago or so.
Huh.
The series finished, and I bought all the volumes.
So it was like a limited series.
Mm-hmm. But it was like probably 6 to 8 volumes.
Right. Oh, I got you.
So it was, it took a while to read through, but it was good because the art's amazing.
I remember you talking about that.
Yeah.
I didn't remember the name, but I remember you talking about it.
I really liked it.
I never got around to reading it. Yeah, and it's see, well, and that actually brings me back to sort of what I started ranting about in the first place, which is that like the TV shows, like the Marvel TV shows, they're really good and the movies are really good, but it's almost like, I've said many times, you've heard me say this a million times, that it's like if I could go back in time to like 1988 and tell little me that it's like, dude, by 2020, the biggest movies in history are going to be comic book movies, and that the Marvel universe is, is the big thing. Like Thor is going to be world famous, and and Iron Man.
Well, especially in that context, I mean, back then there were like the computer graphics was like a joke.
Yeah, I mean, it's like it was difficult to even conceive of some of these.
Because I mean, what you had back then was just people in tights,
right?
If that.
But what's interesting though is if you also went back in time to like 2004 or 5, and you told me then that I'd be sick of it.
Yeah, I know.
I wouldn't believe it.
I know. That was before Iron Man.
And it's like, yeah, because when was Iron Man?
08.
Is it 08? Like, because the reason I say I'm sick of it is not that they're bad movies, and I'm not putting the movies down, but what I'm saying is it's almost like we've kind of forgotten that this is not the end of itself, and this was the translation of characters to a medium.
Mm-hmm.
And what happened is, like, and I've said this many times, is when it comes to comics, is it's almost like the tail started wagging the dog.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm good with the movies, and I'm good with the changes that the movies make, but I miss the comics.
Yeah, Jason said I had the DC Injustice series.
Oh, it was awesome.
That was awesome.
It was awesome, dude.
It was all digital.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah, and that's what's funny is the video game I hated. Did you ever play the video game?
No, I didn't.
DC Injustice. I hated the video game. The comics are amazing.
Hmm.
At least the ones that I've read. There's more that I think I haven't finished the whole thing, but it was so.
Every now and then I get the inkling to kind of get back on. Was it DC Online?
Oh, DC Online. Yeah. It was fun.
It was a fun.
Yeah.
Fun.
I always wondered if like it held up. You know what I'm saying?
Me too. I'm curious if people are still play it.
Yeah. It's funny you should say, because I want to say it was just like a few days ago that I read something and they were talking about DC Online, like some new update or something like that. But I can't remember what. Swifty says no.
No to what?
Yeah, so we got like a minute delay, Swifty. So if we miss you, that's why. Like if we move past what you're talking about, it's because we're seeing you like a minute later, and then you're hearing us like a minute after that.
That's a pretty long tongue there.
Yeah, he has to brush. It's kind of extreme.
He kind of almost looks like a creepy like Bigfoot or something. It's just like a because he's so hairy.
That was what I always liked about Hulk 2099. It was that, like, he seems like, well, see, some of that's hair and then some of it's spikes.
Mm.
He's got like spikes on his shoulders and stuff. He's very spiky.
Oh, he never played the video game.
Oh, never played the video game? Yeah. It's I didn't dig it. I got it for PC and I didn't like it very much. PC Master Race. But yeah, what was I even saying? What were we talking about? I don't even know. Happy Little Monsters.
I don't recall.
I don't know.
It's wild how much merchandise now that Happy Trees guy. Oh, God.
Bob Ross.
Yeah, Bob Ross. He's like everywhere. I went shopping the other day and he's on underwear and T-shirts and.
Do you know, isn't there a part of you that just kind of dies a little bit?
It's just
when something like that happens.
It makes you wonder if Bob Ross would like roll over.
It's not even that. It's almost like I don't know.
Well, like he never like sold his paintings or anything either. So
it's I don't know. You just ever get tired of things just kind of getting cheap?
Yeah.
Where it's it's like, oh, we need more of this stuff. Like to me that like the end of culture is basically the Funko Pop.
Oh gosh, yeah. I can't.
Oh my gosh.
I'm just not. I never got it.
Stop buying that crap.
I know. You'll walk by cubes at work and there'll just be like rows and rows
just
of.
Stop.
Like, you spend all your money on Funko Pops.
Well, and not only that, but it's like, why?
And they're ugly. They're not interesting.
Well, I think I've told you before. Now, like this room, like my office is a little different.
We're gonna have the Funko
like the
Pop
studio.
Mafia coming in.
Yeah, right. But I've had people before that it's like, I'm this huge nerd and I'm like an old school nerd, right? Mm-hmm. Not like the modern sort of like everything is awesome. They want to get you
a Funko Pop Yoda.
Yeah. Well, but I've had people that like they come to my house and then so often like they'll be like, oh, well, this doesn't look anything like what I expected. Like what are you talking about? Well, now I know generally what they mean.
Yeah,
but it's like
they
for a
expect
while,
you to have dolls. Everywhere.
Yeah, it was like
collectible.
Oh, this just doesn't look anything like what I expected. Like how? What do you mean? Well, you're always talking about comics and you draw comics and stuff. And I expected you to have like like
like
well, and see, and that's what's funny is like, but no, what they will talk about is like toys and models,
figures and
right,
stuff,
figures
figurines
and that sort of
stuff. Figurines.
and I'm like, no, I don't. Like, for one thing, that stuff's expensive.
Yeah.
And it turns into a habit and a hobby, and you and I both know
if you
people.
want to spend your money on that, fine.
I mean, yeah, to each their own, but it's, I got bills to pay. I got stuff I got to do.
And I went through a phase where I was buying a lot of Star Wars figures. You remember that?
Oh yeah.
And now they're just in a box in my closet.
But there is a difference though, because like we're saying that, and of course over your shoulder right there is a giant Millennium Falcon.
Right.
But I've got to say that it's not that I don't have some of those things.
Yeah.
But it's like the stuff that I have does have real meaning to me.
Mm-hmm.
Like that Millennium Falcon. I mean, I teared up when they gave that to me. That it was last Christmas,
Just two
Christmases
yeah,
ago,
I think
right?
2 or 3.
And it's and what it was my family, my parents got that Millennium Falcon. And what's hilarious is the thing is so huge, I can't figure out what to do with it. Like it's too heavy to put on, like it's too big to put on a shelf. I've been trying to figure out how to put it on a wall, but I don't want to like break it. But it was so,
hang it from the ceiling.
It was so adorable. Like that Christmas, the way it actually went was like my brother, my middle brother.
Can they see it? I guess they can.
Yeah. You can see it in the. It's over that shoulder.
That's right. There's a delay.
Yeah, it's a delay. It was that Christmas was really funny because my middle brother, he was all excited because he was like because he was telling my mom this. He was like, I got Chris the best Christmas present this year, and I won Christmas because he's gonna flip out over this. And what he got me was it's a replica, original series Star Trek communicator. Mm-hmm. And when this particular communicator is kind of famous. Do you want to grab it? It's right there. You want to grab it and throw it on camera? See it it's next to the robot. So he got me this communicator, and this communicator is famous for like perfect. It is a perfect replica. I mean, and it's perfect down to the texture of the well, you're gonna like Vanna White it.
Well, yeah. Can you?
Yeah, you can see it.
You're gonna have to help me.
No, you can see it. Yeah, there you go. I mean, it's perfect. Like, and you can like slap it closed. Like,
hold on.
Yeah, there you go. Here, let me see. It's it'll do the whole like. Oh, and actually, hang on. I think it's charged. Is it not charged? No, I probably need to charge it. Or wait, do I? There it goes. Okay, so that's pretty freaking cool.
That's really cool. I remember you got that. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's oh my gosh, I was so, and it's Bluetooth, so you can make calls through this thing. Like you can call people through it.
You can call people like on their phone?
Yeah. I mean, it's Bluetooth, so it connects to your phone.
Weird.
Yeah. But anyway, so my brother got me that. And he was bragging to my mom about it. He's like, oh, this is just, he's going to lose his mind.
How'd you do the Aussie?
Oh, yeah. Like you sort of push it with your finger.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go. It snaps open.
That's cool.
And I did. Like when I opened it up, I mean, I just lost my mind. I was like, dude, that's just the coolest thing ever. I mean, because to say that I'm a Star Trek, fan is
Chris is very much a Star Trek fan.
I love me some Star Trek. But then what was funny was, all of a sudden from like the next room, I hear the Star Wars theme start to blast.
Are you serious?
Yeah,
that's funny.
And I mean, I was like, what's going on? And then my two youngest nieces,
I remember you telling this part. Yeah,
they came in holding that Millennium Falcon over their heads because the thing's huge. Like you can't tell on the camera. I mean, it's enormous.
Yeah.
And I just about died. So things like that, like that's why I've got that. And that's why I've got the Bluetooth thing, and then I've got little things like that.
Well.
But this idea of just buying just more of this, you know what I'm saying? Just like I need the new figure of Ghost Rider. Sorry, I know I just went on a big rant forever.
Mm.
Yeah.
There's probably a bunch of figurine fans out there right now. They're gonna write you angry letters.
I'm gonna get angry letters. I'm gonna get a cease and desist from Marvel.
Yeah.
From Disney. I'm gonna have Mickey Mouse is gonna show up and he's gonna be like, "Oh, you better stop that." Oh. What were you saying?
I wasn't. I don't know.
But yeah. So have you watched any Picard?
I have not.
You haven't watched any of it all?
I were just not going to.
Well, the first episode is on YouTube for free.
That's wonderful. I'm not going to watch it.
Yeah, you need to check it out. You need it at least so we can.
No, I'm not going to.
And it's just so I can complain about it in a way.
No, I really have a soft spot for the next generation, and I don't want that to be ruined. So.
It's kind of heartbreaking. Yeah. I mean, it's.
Yeah.
I mean,
who was it? I was talking to somebody. Oh, it was somebody from work the other day about the Star Trek.
You were talking about the Star Trek.
I was talking about the Star Trek, and we were kind of agreeing on the fact that she was watching Deep Space Nine, I think, right now, and I was telling her we were talking about. She asked me if I was watching the new shows. I was like, no, it's not the same.
Yeah.
But I did tell her, she said, you got to watch Enterprise because she hadn't watched Enterprise before. That's a good one.
Oh, Enterprise is great.
I love
Enterprise.
I mean, the fourth season was kind of
Yeah, but it loses it after a while. And certainly the
was
finale it's one of the worst finales in the history of
abysmal
TV. Yeah.
But there's some great characters. Especially like the second, third season are really good.
Do you know, I can honestly say that there is not a single character on Enterprise that I didn't love, like really love. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, all of them, like for totally different reasons. Like, I think one of my favorite characters ever is Trip, and definitely one of my favorite characters is the Doctor, Dr. Phlox.
Yeah, I like T-Paul, right?
T-Paul. I'm T-Paul. She's the one from Alabama. This one here is she's from Texas. Her name is T-Paul. Have you ever read Ghost Rider versus? I have not read that. Ghost Rider versus Avengers. It's not ringing a bell, Swifty.
He watched Discovery in Costa Rica.
Yeah. Discovery.
Yeah, it's only on CBS Access.
Yeah.
The first season of Discovery, I kind of liked, but
it had some decent stuff.
But then it just went off the rails and last season, except for the Captain Pike stuff, which was pretty interesting.
All the Captain Pike stuff was good, which means it's all going to go away.
Yeah.
And
I'm just tired of all the crying every single episode.
Yeah. Oh, like the Red Letter Media guys, they nailed it. They nailed it. It was like
every time.
Every episode you have to have somebody that has some emotional breakdown.
Yeah.
And
some moving score.
Yeah.
And slow motion.
It's like, and I said the same thing then that I'm saying about Picard now. It's like, have you guys ever watched an episode of Star Trek?
Yeah.
Like it just doesn't. Just doesn't compute.
I've never watched Babylon 5.
Yeah, Babylon 5 is one of those things that I've always intended to kind of get to. I'm spitting all over everything. I'm spitting all over while I'm drawing spit. And it was one of those things that I've always meant to get to and just haven't. Because have you ever had like shows like that where it's like there's no reason you haven't watched it?
Yeah.
It's like, but it's just like, why haven't I watched this yet? I know I'm probably going to like it.
Well, like, I was always putting off Buffy, because you were always like, you go watch Buffy. You go watch Buffy. I was like, no.
Oh, holy cow.
And finally, what was that one summer, I was like.
Wasn't there me and somebody else who was just like, dude, you're going to shut up and
you
watch
and
Buffy.
Tabor, right?
That's what it was.
We were outside having a fire, and you guys kept talking about Buffy, and I was like, well, I'll check it out finally.
I remember Tabor and I were both like, we're just going to make you watch this. We're not going to give you a choice.
And I watched like 1 or 2 episodes, and I was like, I can't stop watching this. And I remember, like, I went through, like, the whole 7 season, whatever. Is it 7 seasons?
Yeah, 7 seasons.
The whole 7 seasons in probably, like, 2 or 3 months over the summer.
Yeah.
I could not stop watching.
And it's oh, my gosh, just the freaking best. I mean, it's just brilliant writing from start to finish.
Swifty said Babylon 5 is kind of like Deep Space Nine, but with different people.
There were legal issues.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It was. I want to say it was. I think that guy's name was Michael J.
Fox.
Straczynski. Yeah. Aren't you funny? Is Michael Straczynski? I think is his name. And
who's this? Who are we talking about?
the dude who I think I could be completely misremembering. I mean, it's been years since I've thought about any of this stuff. But anyway, the guys who wanted to make Babylon 5 like went to Paramount, I think, and they were like, "We want to make this show," and the Paramount dudes or whoever the producers were, like passed. And they're like, "Nah, we don't think we're gonna make this," because they were like, "We want to make a show about life on a space station," and then Deep Space Nine. Yeah, Deep Space Nine came out, and they were like, "Dude, what?" And I want to say, I don't remember what the outcome was, but I'm pretty sure they got into some pretty heavy legal, like it was like a big deal, because they were like, "You straight up made our idea when you made Deep Space Nine." And Deep Space Nine is not bad. There's some episodes in some aspects. Some of Deep Space Nine is some of the best Star Trek. But not every aspect. Like there were some things about it that
well, look, all the series are kind of have that off and on. Like yeah, I would argue
that Next Generation is just awesome. Like even the first couple of seasons, they had their charm. I've got a soft spot.
I don't know. Season 1's got a few duds.
Like the horribly racist episode. Do you remember that?
That always comes to mind.
Yeah. It's oh my gosh. I want to say it was like the third episode.
Yeah, it was like earlier on in.
Yeah, I want to say it was the third episode. I don't remember the name of it, but it was like the writers were sitting around and they were like, "How can we make the most racist episode we can possibly make?" And it was terrible. And Swifty says, and it was also some of the worst. Yeah, it was some of the worst Star Trek. Talking about Deep Space Nine, like it had some really, really good and had some really, really. But I mean, to me, that's the sign that you're really taking a good chance. You know?
I still haven't gotten around to watching Voyager either.
Voyager, it's worth it. Voyager improves drastically. Like that's
the thing. Whenever you got these, like, it's kind of intimidating when you know these, like, series, and you like, oh, I got to get through. Like you hear, like, oh, you got to get through the first 2 seasons or whatever, before it's like, oh my God, there's 22 episodes of the first 2 seasons.
No, I mean you'll enjoy all of it. I mean, it's Star Trek, and it's pretty. I mean, it's back when Star Trek was really, really good, and it's still, it's still good, but you'll notice a big difference as far as like.
It's not like a Next Generation good.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, the Next Generation was just sort of. I mean, let's face it. It was the best Star Trek. I mean, I think there's an objective case to be made. Yeah, like Swifty says, Voyager gets better.
Okay. I'll have to button down and get through that one day.
Because it's all on Netflix. Do it before they take it off.
Yeah.
But yeah, Voyager. I've always said that Voyager, like, probably my favorite captain is probably Jean-Luc Picard. But if I had to bet on a captain, I'd bet on Janeway.
Yeah.
And it's for one thing, like Kate Mulgrew as that character, it was just, she was perfect. She was amazing. And Janeway was put in so many situations where she had a different way of thinking. And it was like Picard was spit and polish. And like what his sort of like strength was that he was very he was rigid. And I'll never forget, like in the episode where he meets Spock, like Spock says, he's like there's almost Vulcan quality to Picard, which is right. Like he's very controlled. Janeway is just scrappy and smart. Like she's just like she is a scientist first, and then that's kind of where all of her. I feel like my brush is too big, maybe.
By the way, we're up to 15 minutes, 45 minutes.
Whoa. Really? I'm showing that we're at an hour and 2 minutes.
We did start early, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
We didn't start at 7, did we?
Right.
Or
no, well,
no, we did start at 7.
that's kind of interesting. I don't know how that goes. Anyway, Swifty says she wasn't Picard. She broke most of. Yeah, she did. Like, and that's also why though I think that Voyager was kind of like it was like one of the biggest missed opportunities because they could have done they could have gone more radically in the direction of like, what do you have to do to adapt to their situation? Because they're stuck on their own. They don't have mighty, Starfleet to back them up.
Yeah.
So, and they played with a lot of that, but not quite. You know what I'm saying? Like it wasn't. I feel like they could have gone further. But
so when you're like doing what you're doing right now,
I keep hitting my mic with my head.
what do you like? What goes through your head? Like where to put the shadows and stuff?
Honestly, I'm almost not thinking about it, and it's and what'll happen is like if I stop to think about it,
you mess it up.
Yeah, I'll mess it up. It's and in a way that's sort of like I like this. That's why I like this format. That's why I like being able to sit here and work and talk. Mm-hmm. Because the stuff that I'm doing now, it's almost like you have to distract, or I have to distract like part of my brain, because it's easy for this to get like tedious. Sorry guys, I'm still blowing my nose like crazy. It's easy for this kind of thing to get tedious, and so it's nice to just be able to sit and talk.
It's so weird because there's like almost no resemblance to Hulk.
Yeah.
At least not in up at the face.
I mean, he's still green,
right?
And you can't really get that from the black and white, obviously. But yeah, they're really, it was the '90s. Like everything in the '90s was like extreme. Everything is pouches and shoulder pads, and we're gonna have spikes on our tongue.
Juice packs. I don't know. I was just thinking of those
and juice packs.
I was thinking of those cheesy '90s like Capri Sun commercials.
Yeah, we all had that stuff. And you remember there was I'm not thinking of what was the really super orange drink that was probably toxic, like radioactive.
Tang?
No, I love Tang. I grew up with Tang. No, I'm talking about Sunny Delight. Remember Sunny Delight?
God, I hate that.
Oh, gosh.
Always was just had a weird taste.
It was so fake.
Yeah, it was very fake.
And
like
it was
chemicals.
It was like what a robot. If you said to a robot,
make orange juice.
Make orange juice. I will make orange juice. And it's like, and it put like cleaner in there or something.
Yeah, it was awful. I remember one time.
So it was technically citrus, but
I remember one time either my dad or my mom like got that for me, like just something different.
Yeah.
And they were excited because that's what the kids drink.
This is what the young folks drink.
It was like this big, jug of it, and it was disgusting. And I was like, oh, and Mom's like, I bought this for you, or my dad. I can't remember who it was, but
yeah,
they're pissed.
It's that's pretty funny. It's dude, Tang was the best.
Oh, I love Tang.
I
loved me some Tang when I was a kid.
It was. It
was great.
Especially because I was.
I guess it's still out there. I think the last time I looked,
it's still. You can still get it.
Yeah.
I got Tang not too long ago.
Did you?
Yeah.
Did it taste the same?
It tastes exactly the same
kind of.
Oh, it was amazing. It was like drinking my childhood.
Really? Okay.
It was amazing. Yeah.
Interesting.
I don't think I got it locally though. I think I actually got it off Amazon.
Oh, really?
The Prime Pantry.
Weird.
And
I think I did see it on the shelf one time, probably 10 years ago.
It's probably there.
Yeah.
Like I just haven't noticed. You know what I'm saying? I mean, anymore when I go, I'm so focused when I go grocery shopping anymore. I just go in and get the stuff I know I'm going to get. I don't really browse. But yeah, man, freaking Tang. Like it was. Isn't
it weird when you think about like the stuff you would drink back in the 80s and maybe early 90s or eat, things you'd drink and eat back then, like
Spam.
I never did that.
You never did Spam?
Blech.
You never did Spam?
Gross. No.
Spam's good, dude.
No, stop.
No, it's good.
No. I don't do potted meat.
It's good.
No,
I dug it.
stop. It's funny though. Like in Hawaii, isn't it like spam like huge in Hawaii? I've heard that. Like there's like they love spam out there. Like they have spam.
I've heard, yeah, there's some.
And
Place,
there's
I don't know if
different.
it's Hawaii.
And
There's some.
I think it's Hawaii because I have some relatives that just went there on vacation and they were taking pictures of grocery shelves full of different flavored spams, like weird flavored spams, like pineapple spam and just weirdness.
Pineapple spam. Why not just have spam and then eat it with pineapple? Jeez.
No.
Why you gotta be weird?
You gotta be. This is called marketing 101.
I guess so.
You have to diversify, I guess.
That's terrifying.
Is that a word? I don't know.
It's yeah, no, I like spam. You can do like I know like one of the things that I haven't done this in a while. I actually haven't had spam in a while, but I know like one of the things that was really good is like I would scramble eggs and then like cut up spam, like dice it and then put it. Oh, it was amazing! It was fantastic, dude. It was really good.
It's probably like what 1,000 milligrams of sodium too per cube.
Probably. I'm probably very well preserved, or at least my corpse will be. But it was. I mean, it was legitimately like, holy cow, this is really good. But
so he's got like a cat tongue then, huh?
Yeah, it's like spiky. Like he's all about the spikes. He's like, again, everything's extreme.
His eyebrows are kind of scary.
Yeah, he's got like me eyebrows, man. I've found like as I'm getting older, like my eyebrows.
Oh, me too. Every now and then I'm like, what's going on up there?
Yeah, it's like I'll wake up in the morning and I've got like Gandalf forehead, where it's like my forehead's like, you know, like my hair is just, you know, like the, you know, but yeah. Well, this is looking pretty scary.
Well, yeah.
Look at that. He looks like a monster.
I can see how like this would take a while if you were to sit here the rest of the night drawing on this.
Yeah. I mean, and the well, but you know, it wouldn't take as long.
You'd be doing it faster for hours.
I mean, we're chatting and sort of get off subject, but I mean that's fine. I'm totally cool with that. Not everything has to be a race. As a matter of fact, you know, honestly, after the last few live streams I've done, and I am trying to do like one live stream a week. And after the last live stream that I did, I started to realize it's like, you know, I'm trying to go too fast because I'm trying to do one thing. And I was like, you know, honestly, I just kind of want to. I really want to start making myself just have fun with it. Mm-hmm. Like it's.
Well, I really like the vector drawings you do too. Those are fun.
Those are fun. I keep going back and forth on like.
I know you're like, I'm not gonna do the comic stuff, and then you go back and I'm doing the comic stuff tonight.
Well, like I think part of that is the reason I get so because you know, like right now I'm doing kind of multiple. I'm wearing two hats really, and like one of it is illustration and art and doing the live stream and this sort of thing, and then the other thing is my own design business, and both of those take, you know, a fair amount of work to make them happen. But you know, the more I think about it, it's like, you know, I really need to focus on the design business because that's kind of the bread and butter and that's kind of the higher paying stuff. But I want to do this mainly sort of getting back to what I was saying a second ago. Like this is fun for me, like being able to hang out with buddies and
me.
Well, I didn't have any buddies available. So. No, I'm just kidding. Like being able to like hang out with somebody and talk about nerdy stuff. And just draw comics and just sort of like this is fun and then you know if this turns into something more, like if it gets bigger and because I'd still kind of like to sell some of this, you know, some of this stuff. I need to make a spot on my
I mean I think you could whip out 4 or 5 of those vector drawings, you know, in a day. I'm not every day, but I'm just saying, you know, and they're like, okay, put those up for sale. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I mean, it's such a weird time, dude. And like, of course, you're an artist too, obviously. Mm-hmm. And what's amazing is, okay, like, cause you and I, we were in school at the same time for art. And when we chose graphic design, it was a totally different landscape. graphic design and art in general, it was a totally different landscape. I mean, it wasn't like the internet didn't exist. Obviously, it did, but it's like now there's just been this explosion.
Well, that
of
and you
content.
don't. So many people now. It's like you don't even have to go and get a degree in it. If you opened up Photoshop and played around a little bit, or
They call it
or the free versions of Photoshop
GIMP
and stuff,
or
GIMP or something like
that,
that. They think you're like a graphic designer now, and
the real trouble is like you're competing for work with people that are like, I'm a graphic designer, and they don't actually have any. They've learned a few tropes,
right?
Like they've learned I can make a minimalist logo,
Yeah, and on top of that, these are typically younger people that I'm not bashing anybody,
right?
But like
I'm kind of bashing,
right?
Yeah,
but I mean, they're willing to pay or be paid less, than what and then it's like so it's competing against that. It's hard.
It is hard, yeah, because they're like you'll have some new business, and and you and I've both worked with like small businesses and large businesses. And you'll have some new business that comes to you. Let's say they're wanting like branding or something, and they're like, yeah, we need a logo and an identity, and they talk to somebody like us, and we've got like 20 years experience, and we have this whole system on like this is how you want to do it, this is how it's going to work, and this is why you want to do this, and then they're like. Oh, well, can you give me a quote? And you give them a reasonable quote. And it's like,
what?
But my neighbor's kid has Photoshop.
Yeah.
And he can do it for a Coke and a smile.
Right.
And
for exposure.
For exposure. And, like, far be it from me to like I don't fault the people that like the kids that are doing that, and like these 20 somethings that just decide they want to be a graphic designer because they're kind of artsy and they don't really have any training for it. I'm not faulting them for it. I'm all about being an entrepreneur. But so in all of this, what I'm saying is like I'm just making observations. I don't consider this really a complaint, but it is an observation you got to be aware of when you're trying to establish a business like this. So but what's kind of fascinating is it also, most of the time, I mean, and I don't have to tell you, I mean, because you've done this as much as I have, most of the time when you're dealing with a client, especially that's a small business, they have no idea what quality is.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Like it's like they're not art directors, and you wouldn't expect them to be because that's why they're coming to you.
They don't have an eye for it,
right?
And
and especially if they've never really worked with artists before.
I mean, you just drive around town and you'll see signs that you're just like, oh gosh, you cringe over, or flyers, or,
and it's not like that hadn't always existed,
right?
But it's like now what's sort of happening is it ends up kind of lowering standards. For a lot of
like you'll
things.
see like a lot of small business logos, and you're just like, oh, why did they choose those colors, or why did they? Or that font,
It's why on earth did you do?
We're
that?
about running up on an hour.
It's we are.
No, I'm just letting you know.
Oh no, we're good. I've been kind of watching the time. I'm good to go a little bit longer tonight.
I'm done. See ya.
Yeah,
Peace.
see ya. Bye. But no, it's like I was saying. Like I'm not really I'm not saying all this to. I know it sounds like I'm just kind of complaining, and I don't really mean it that way. What I mean is like, it has so dramatically changed how you have to compete. You know what I'm saying? I mean, like,
well, not only that, but like if you're looking for, some company, a job at some company or something. They expect you to be able to do the entire gamut of of graphic design, and it's like you need to be able to code, you need to be able to make an app, you need to know the code languages, you need to be able to do logos and flyers and video, and like what person can do all that?
I can use Prismacolor markers.
Right. It's like I don't know who the heck has that much.
Well, I mean, you're absolutely right as far as like. I think a lot of times they'll put out like feelers for, you'll see all these job sort of descriptions that'll just be like, we need a graphic designer. And it's like, okay, what do you need a graphic designer for? And then they'll start talking about something that, It's like, well, no, you need a web developer,
Yes, yeah.
or you need a web designer.
HTML and CSS is a plus or something.
Yeah, yeah, and it's like, and
that's
what
not
gets,
graphic design.
What gets confusing is it's not like you don't have graphic designers that can do that.
Right.
You and I can work on websites, and it's like
I can't code though.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's like well, I mean,
You can a little bit more,
bit,
yeah.
right? But yeah, it gets, and there again, you see how it gets confusing because it's like, oh well, then what can you do? And it's like, well, for one thing, I've got 20 years of experience on building a project.
Yeah,
and that's the thing that I think I've found more than anything, where so many young designers are maybe struggling a little bit, and because they'll have great skills and they'll have amazing technical skills. I mean, we've seen that a million times, where it's like you'll have really strong technical skills, and you'll have some decent design skills. But I mean, you and I both know that so much of that, it's not talent. Like for almost any decent designer, it's really not talent. It has everything to do with, like, it's just like any other kind of business.
Yeah.
Like it takes experience.
my nephew can code. Jason says.
Oh, Swifty said, yeah. It's a huge, and being able to code in almost any language is already I mean, it's a heck of a thing to, it's a definite plus. But how many times have you seen, like, so many designers that seem to, like, they concentrate on the technical stuff, which is really hard to master. I mean, when it comes to, like, the Adobe suite, it's hard.
Yeah.
I mean, it is really difficult. It's difficult to keep up with everything it can do.
There's so many pieces of software with it too.
Yeah,
like you and I are really obviously have a lot of experience in Illustrator and Photoshop.
right.
But like from my experience, and I know you too somewhat, haven't really used InDesign as much, and InDesign's not quite as hard. But
it's like
still,
we can muddle through
it. We can muddle
right.
through it, but
it's not.
We haven't been doing it for
right
15,
with
20
Illustrator
years.
and Photoshop. It just rolls off.
Right.
I mean, we but what's just insane though is that he's spiky.
10, and he does. Oh wow, gosh.
Wow, he's 10. Excuse me, 10 years old, and he does C++, Java, and a few I've never heard of. That's pretty cool.
That's pretty awesome.
That's awesome. Yeah, I know just enough C++ to be dangerous. Ironically, Swifty, I'm pretty decent with Swift, the Apple programming language. It's I mean, don't get me wrong, like, I couldn't sit down and make an app right now, but I've worked with it enough to I've
got that little app.
Oh, the Playgrounds app.
The Playgrounds app.
Really
I played
good.
with it a few times.
And it's and I've done just enough in Xcode that it's like, if I were to sit down for a week, I could figure it out. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can understand enough of the language, and I sort of know the mechanics enough to again, I'm not good, but I can sort of figure it out.
Is Java's not going away, is it? Flash is
going away.
Okay, yeah.
I think it's pretty much gone away now.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Although you still get websites every now and then that's like, this needs Flash.
Incidentally, I don't. Did you hear that there's some malware that's been hitting people that masquerades as a Flash update on iOS or Mac OS?
Oh yeah, really?
Yeah.
Mac, really?
Yeah. It's so like I know you don't have a Mac at home, but like your work Mac. Like, so if you get a Flash update, like, beware.
Interesting, yeah, because I'll be like.
Because because it's so good at it, like it really spoofs it well. Apparently. But this dude is spiky. He's got what we call spikes.
He looks like a big old cockabur.
This is a family show, Kevin. But no, it was like, I was just reading about that. I want to say a couple of days ago. On like Apple News, is that there was some exploit that was really convincingly masquerading as a Flash update.
I wonder what, some of those animations, like Simon's cat, was made with Flash. I wonder what they're changing over to.
Well, you still have Adobe Animate.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's basically just that Flash. Yeah, Flash is going the way of the dinosaur. Yeah, it really pretty much. I mean, I don't know. Probably not a lot of people even try to use Flash anymore, because it's like HTML5 is what they're using now, and like and Adobe Animate is just Adobe Flash, like the app.
Okay.
Flash.
Really?
Yeah, that's really all it is.
Okay.
But now instead of it being the Flash format,
Mm-hmm.
it's HTML5.
Mm-hmm.
I think.
You're just making stuff up.
I am. I'm totally. I don't know what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I really kind of don't. I mean, it's been a while since I've really looked at that stuff, which is funny because, just earlier today I was looking at some different schemes for. I'm working on getting back to design. I know I'm sitting here drawing comics and talking about design, graphic design. But one of the things I've been working on lately is my for Butler Digital Studios for my design business. I'm working on the graphics 2020 graphics trends. So like trends in graphic design. You've seen, I've got like my Pinterest board.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I was looking at on there was I'm trying to look for interesting and sort of new ways to like animate logos, because that's definitely
the key. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've been trying to looking into that too.
Yeah. And it's another one of those examples of something where it's like you have to learn two things really. You have to learn really effective animation. You have to learn three things really. You have to learn really effective ways to animate, like the technical side of it. Then number two, you have to learn sort of the trend side of it, like what is trending as far as how to do it, like the art direction.
Yeah.
And then the third thing is you have to really get a feel on like the mechanics of interesting and good motion graphics.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
There's different animation, like you said, animation trends, I guess, that you see with the animated logos, because some of them are actually look really animated, like cartoony, like an explosion or something, and then others are like more technical. Or
like or much more minimal or sort of
right.
Yeah. And that's what I meant. Like there's kind of there's the art of it, and then there's but I'll tell you, what's kind of amazing about all that is like trying to figure out that kind of animation. I've been working on for a while. This is a little bit of a preview. I mean, this is probably going to be a fairly low viewer count on this video, so and it's not like it's exactly a secret, but I'm definitely sort of trying to crunch on it before I put it out in the world. But I've really got a very strong feeling about sort of digital user experience versus print. And I know you and I've talked about this before, where it's like I pretty strongly feel that the best practices in terms of design, now that the entire world is gone, everything is digital. Everything is sort of up for grabs in some digital medium or some digital format. Is I'm a big believer in letting things that are screens be very specifically designed for screens, and things that are print being very specifically designed for print, and things that are motion being very specifically designed for motion. What I mean by that is like everybody knows, if you follow any of my stuff, like if you're looking at the stream right now, you can see like I've got these repeating grids. So like kind of an example of what I'm talking about is, this is something that sort of, if you're sort of related to the design world, like you're kind of familiar with the word skeuomorphism. Yeah. Right. It's like most, like today, like the average person's probably not going to be familiar with the word, but if you're related to design, you've heard skeuomorphism, which if you're listening to this and you're wondering what that is skeuomorphism is basically, where you're making like a digital asset look like some sort of physical thing. And like the sort of best examples are, if you've got like a journal app in your phone, it looks like it has a leather cover.
Yeah, well, like Apple used to do a lot of that.
Yeah, Apple was really big on, like, everything was very skeuomorphic, where it was like you'd see stitching on the leather and that sort of thing. That's skeuomorphism. It's faking a material, or faking doing a digital representation of a material. Then all of that went away, and everything went very flat, because it was digital, and it was cleaner, and it was just, there's something more satisfying about it. And then you saw the next evolution of that, and the next evolution of that was everything started going to dark mode. Yeah. And I got to say, like, I am very surprised it didn't happen earlier, because I saw it coming and I knew it was coming. And and everything, Oh, I think Swifty's out of the chat. Swifty, hey man, thanks for hanging out with us, dude. You're gonna have to call in one of these days. We'll get you on Skype and catch up and talk nerdy stuff, dude. Thanks for hanging out with us.
Bye. Yeah, we'll probably cut this pretty soon.
Okay, yeah, I think we're close to wrapping up here. And then what we might do, I might work on this one again, maybe on Friday, and maybe we can hang out.
Sure.
Maybe we can get Timmy in here. Maybe Timmy will have some time. But just to sort of finish what I was talking about, like the skeuomorphism, like then you had dark mode, and it almost gets back to Star Trek again. Like when I'm interacting with a screen, like I want the rules of the screen, like the visual, the interaction with the screen to fit the fact that I'm using a computer. And I'm going to make another prediction here, and you're not going to believe it, and nobody's ever going to believe it, but I'm telling you, is like right now the trend is for everything to just become glass screens. I think you're going to eventually see a little bit of a trend back toward buttons, like physical buttons and physical switches and physical dials. And it's not a retro thing. It's not I don't mean as a retro fad. What I mean is, and again, I'm kind of almost building this. I'm building this kind of idea in my head that I'm gonna kind of present just sort of as a design style that I want computers to be just a computer again. There's a lot of design, like hardware and software design out there, which is trying to. You always hear these terms like we're trying to integrate it into the world, and we're trying to make it so that it's seamless with your reality, and so that it's they're trying to give it that sort of like it's just like this technological presence that's around you.
Mm-hmm.
But you think about a lot of the issues people have with sort of what having access to all this information is doing to our attention spans, our ability to retain information. You know what I'm saying? So here's my theory. And I think, maybe I'm insane, but I think that eventually psychology is going to catch up with the idea that we need more barriers between us and our digital spaces and not less barriers. And by barriers, I'm talking about like I want my computer to look like a computer. Mm-hmm. I want it to feel like it is a task-based thing rather than something that's like a plant or like a house plant or a sculpture. Or I want it to be something that I sit down in front of and work.
You're getting deep tonight.
I am getting deep tonight. Mm-hmm. That's right. I'm deep. That's why. So I'm sorry. You were going to say something. What were you going to say?
I've lost my train of thought. I'm not sure.
Because I was so deep. That's why.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think we're gonna cut it for tonight, man.
Yeah, that sounds like a plan. Yeah. So this was fun.
Yeah, I had a good time.
And no joke. You know what? I'm gonna save Hulk 2099 here, and maybe Friday we'll do another live stream and hang out. And like I said, maybe we can figure out how to get Timmy in here. I know he's working like crazy.
We got to get him over here.
Yeah. He works like a madman. But if we can possibly arrange it, we can all hang out. I've got another camera I can set up, and we can sit here and draw the Hulk.
Sounds good.
And talk about. I can't help but think. I know we're getting off of here, but I can't help but think that we might actually break it up and do. I might do the, some of the drawing, but maybe we do a dedicated live stream once a week where we talk about design.
Yeah.
Or it's not just the nerdier aspects of life, but
that's cool.
But talk about design and talk about technology and that sort of stuff, because that's fun.
Talk about robots.
Right there, dude. We can talk about some robots. All right, sir. Well, I think we're gonna go ahead and end the stream, and jump off here. So anybody that's watching this after the fact, anybody that was here, thanks, Swifty, and whoever was watching, and if you're watching the recap, which odds are you are watching the recap, unless you were, one of the very small number of people who were in the chat. then hey, we'll trying to do this every week. It's a little up in the air as far as timing, but it'll become more regular as we go. But everybody have a great night. Mr. Kevin, have
Peace
a good
out.
night.